like Ontario is letting the country down. I think Ontario, for a while there, was going to swing back to conservatism, as it does. But it's Ontario where the Conservative Party of Canada votes seem to be falling apart the most. Alberta obviously is going to be a clean sweep for the Conservatives, or at least nearly so. Maybe one or two Liberals can pop up in Edmonton, as they sometimes do. I think Saskatchewan will be the same. But Ontario is the mother lode of votes. The Atlantic briefly showed a majority of Conservative seats. In fact, there was a moment where even Prince Edward Island, historically perhaps the most Liberal of places, I think they had a rally with over 1,000 people for Pierre Poilievre. But it feels like that's falling apart. And here to help explain what is going on and can something happen in the remaining dozen days of the campaign is our friend Lorne Gunter, senior columnist for the Edmonton Sun. And he's written in the Journal and other places. Its column appears many places. I'm going to quote the headline from one of them. Carney Liberals capitalize on older voters' fear of change and disruption. Joining us now via Skype is our friend Lorne Gunter. Lorne, great to see you. Fear of change and disruption. But don't voters also want change, or is it just a chaotic change they're afraid of? What's going on?
Well, the threats from Donald Trump on tariffs have created bigger fears than usual. And so, yes, people were afraid of another term by the Liberals, but it now seems to them that the bigger problem is more tariff threats from Trump. Not that, I have a sense, is fading a bit because he's gone into this 90-day pause on his tariffs. People are starting to factor into their lives the fact that this chaos south of the border is going to be with us more or less for the next 2 years until the midterm elections in the United States. So I think that now people are starting to look a little bit more at the economy, at affordability, at crime, at some of the issues that the Conservatives have been very good at. But I think there are two things happening that are that have made people return to the Liberal fold, as you say, in Ontario, to some extent in Quebec, and even a little bit on the Lower Mainland, although I was in BC on the weekend, and I don't get a sense of a huge Liberal swing there. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been talk of that. Some of the polls show that the Liberals are making a return in Vancouver. Yes, they'll probably win more seats than they would have 3 months ago, but are they going to take 12? No, I don't think that's even close. So I think there's two things that are happening. One is that you have a generation of people, of which I am one, people over 50, who have done quite well until the last few years. They probably have a house that's paid for. The value of that house has doubled or tripled or quadrupled in the time they've owned it. They're finishing their working careers, or they're already finished their working careers. They have reasonably comfortable retirements. If they've been in the public sector, they could have very comfortable retirements based on the kinds of pensions that teachers and nurses and bureaucrats and others in the public sector get. And they don't want this Trump stuff to mess that up. They worked all their lives to get to this point, and they think Carney's the better person for dealing with Trump. Trump is the biggest threat to my nest egg, my retirement. So therefore, I want Carney now. And it's no more. It's no deeper than that. There's no more intellect involved in it than that. But I think the other thing that's happening is people who have voted Liberal most of their lives don't like Pierre Poilievre. Yeah. They think he's a frat boy. They think he's smarmy. They think he's the attack dog of the Conservatives. He was the attack dog for too long. They can't see him now as the prime minister. And he does say things every once in a while that would reinforce that impression if you already had that impression. Right. You and I might watch a video he puts out and think, hey, that was pretty clever. I like that. But he will say the odd thing in those videos or even his speeches, as clever as they might be, that just puts people off. And they were going to go to him until Justin Trudeau resigned. They were prepared to put up with their distaste for Poilievre because it was less than their disgust for Trudeau. One of the things, and I want this as an aside, one of the things that has amazed me, sort of, or something I've clued into during this race, is just how hated Justin Trudeau was.
Yeah.
Like, he leaves and all of this support surges back to the Liberals.
Yeah. It is amazing.
It's the same staff. It's the same cabinet. Yeah. It's the same candidates. Yeah. It's all the same team, but they just changed the one player.
Yeah.
And he was so hated that the new guy is benefiting tremendously.
You are so right. I mean, it's what, 87% the same cabinet or whatever.
Yeah.
First of all, that shows that the cabinet really, I don't think, beyond Chrystia Freeland and maybe Bill Blair, I don't know if a lot of people can name members of the cabinet, maybe Melanie Joly, but I just think it was such a one-man show. Yeah, and that's about it. I think it was such a one-man show. Power was so centralized around Trudeau that I don't think people even really know, like, who's Anita Anand. I don't think most people know.
Yeah. And she was very prominent. Like, there are lots of lesser ministers who I can't name.
Yeah.
But Anand was defense minister for a while. She was president of the Treasury Board. I mean, she's been very, very senior. And Trudeau cut her out of the cabinet at one point because she was starting to organize a revolt against him. So that's how senior she is. She thought she might be the leader someday. And even she can't be named by most people in the country.
Yeah. You know, here's what's so amazing is Justin Trudeau was so central to the Liberals. And I confess, I thought there's no one who could pick up. There was no one in his team who had the leadership skills, the political skills. And I think I was right. It was Mark Carney. Not that Carney has the skills, but just his presence, this central casting image. But here's something I want to run by you. Justin Trudeau was the center of this country's federal political scene in terms of its tone, its rhetorical style, its smarmy male feminism and wokeness. And he's been gone, I don't know, a month, maybe a month. I'd have to check the exact dates. And when was the last time you saw anyone say, hey, what does Justin Trudeau think? Hey, let's ask Trudeau about this. Hey, what's Trudeau up to? I saw him pop up in one campaign. He door knocked for one person, but literally no one even thinks about him. It's like effervescing. It's like mist. It's like he was a rumor. It's like that old Churchill insult. An empty cab showed up in Parliament Hill and Justin Trudeau stepped out. Don't you think it's remarkable what a nullity he was that no one even thinks or talks about him anymore? In just a matter of days.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I take out of that is how many of those people in his caucus, in his cabinet, on his staff, knew he was the wrong person for the last year or so, but wouldn't say it. It's like all the staff around Joe Biden. When Joe Biden had gone gaga, and all of us knew he was gaga, but they would say, "Oh no! In private, Joe is so sharp. Yeah, he's so great." Yeah. He had that horrendous debate against Trump, which really what pushed him out last June. And they said, "Oh, he wasn't very good because he'd just come back from an overseas trip and he had a cold." No.
It wasn't a cold what did it.
They kept saying, "Oh, Trudeau's going to be the guy. He's so good. He'll find a way out." No. And I think that the fact that nobody cares now where he is or what he's doing is proof positive of that.